So a lot of people are wanting to know how I make my arrows for LARP. Very simple. You just need a couple things, like double-sided tape, electrical tape, and cloth. Things you can have. Some people have lying around the house. It's just a simple arrow, 26 inches, junior, for 15 to about 40 pounds. Start by taking and double-sided taping this. Now, this is going to be your arrowhead, obviously. And you wrap some blue foam around it. This is to stabilize the arrowhead so it doesn't move around. Some electrical tape, duct tape, whatever you want to use, doesn't really matter. It's all going to turn out the same. Sorry about the mess. I've been making all sorts of stuff today. Now, another thing you're going to need is a noodle, a wool noodle. Our rules is 2.5 inches diameter. I'm doing 3 because my bows are kind of heavy. They're around 30 pounds or so, so I'm courtesy. You're going to want to measure about 2 inches. That's how far your arrowhead's going to be for the hard part of it. You're going to cut it out, and you're going to shape it however you want. I happen to shape mine like this. It gives it a better look to it. Simply shove that in there. As well as you're going to want to put, I put 5 pennies instead of just 1. It adds weight, so it has more stability to it. I'm going to add that to the tip of the actual arrow, not the arrowhead you're making, but to the actual arrow. Kind of skipped a step there. And you're going to take more blue foam. You're going to tape that down as well. I'm actually going to use duct tape for this. My arrows, they shoot pretty straight. A lot of it's obviously in your form and everything. But I do pretty well. I have about a 30-pound bow. It's back behind me. I got all sorts of different stuff that I've been making. I'm a part of Tri-City LARP because this is going on our webpage. The red team. This is open cell foam. This is cushion for a couch. Comes in these big old blocks. You can get them in various forms. Again, we have a 2.5 diameter minimum. I do 3 inches. How you cut this out is actually very simple. You take a like a soup can, like this. You cut off the top, so instead of regular where it goes around, here it goes around the edges and makes it sharp. You can just push it through the foam and you pop out with little guys like these. And you put that on the top here. You don't really have to fashion it in place because of what we're going to do next, which is we're going to take some more electrical tape. I love electrical tape. It sticks very well. It's just overall very good tape. Duct tape is just too thick. So you're going to want to find the middle. You want to do everything as equally as you can. That way it doesn't fly off in one direction. Now I slightly compress mine to give it just a less of a corner on the top. That way you can't really tell. It's just basically the inside of a can almost. Some people do duct tape over the top. I'm going to do cloth. Duct tape doesn't breathe, so when it hits them, it doesn't really compress like it should, which kind of defeats the purpose of putting the open cell foam on the outside like that. So not only that, but I think cloth looks better. Very simple cloth that I got is just a, it's actually from the dollar store, some like dish towel. Now see, when I compress it a little bit, you still got quite a bit of cushion. Ain't gonna hurt anybody. We do 2.5 diameters, so it can't enter your eye socket. So that's why it's like that. Now I got my cloth. This is 10 by 10. Original is 12 by 12 inches, of course. And I cut it a little bit to fit better. Now again, you're going to want to find the middle. Stick it right on here. Now what I do is I have the corners follow the electrical tape here because of the next step where I actually cut the cloth a little better to form to the arrowhead. I try to take off as much drag as I can. See, you got these chunks right here. Some people just fold them over and tape them. I don't really like that. I don't like how it looks. So what I do is actually cut those parts off and make it look like it's just a design of the arrow. It's way too much electrical tape for that. So get each little bit packed into here. Tape it. So then you got something looking like this. Now, this has got little bits of foam all over it because I haven't cleaned off my table for when I cut all these pieces out. Now, again, this is completely optional. This is just how I do it. A lot of people just fold it over and call it good. I take it one step further. If my scissors would decide to cut. There we go. Now you're going to flip it over and get the other side. That way it's even, because if you keep, like if I make this one nice and tight, it's going to pull this off and you're going to get parts that are thicker than others, and your tape job is going to look kind of weird. Now I got some electrical tape ready. It wants to stick to my duct tape. Again, find the middle. Now this time you're not going to compress it because it doesn't need to be compressed. It's already been compressed. So this part, my arrowheads are about 5 inches, from A to B. They're not as aerodynamic as they could possibly be, but that's just because I have a wider diameter than what is minimum. I could go with the 2.5 inches, but like I said, I have a bit of a heavier bow, and just for courtesy, I have it larger so that it has a wider impact area instead of just hitting it at the 2.5 inches. Picked up those scissors again. There we go. Now this is my third set of arrows that I've made in a half dozen. This is for one of my fellow clanmates, so I'm actually going to distinctly mark his from mine. Mine has black on both sides, as where his is going to have one that's black and one that's red. So this is just red duct tape. I cut it in half, find the middle, and stick that bad boy on. So it's a very simple make. Really, anyone can do it. It flies pretty well. If you're going for absolute maximum distance, don't use cloth like this because it's got little tuffles that stick out. Get something that's perfectly smooth. For me, it doesn't really matter that much. Like I said, I use a bit of a heavier bow. 30 pounds, which is still within our limit. That's just how I like to do it. I like to be able to shoot a larger range. And with the 5 pennies like that, which adds a decent amount of weight, it won't wobble around. You can feel it's a bit of a heavier arrow. It won't shoot as far, but that compensates for me having a heavier bow. Now the last piece here is to make sure all of your tape stays in place, which will all together hold together your that's a wrap. Very simple, only takes a couple minutes. The most time-consuming thing is that you're going to be doing, most people do, 6 to 12. So, very simple, easy to make arrowhead.